Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, 4D. Good evening, Viv.
Good evening, 4D. Good evening, Bronze, on this beautiful spring evening. What weather we've been having, eh?
It has been nice, yes. Very, very nice and sunny for a change.
Really warm today.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's nice. So it's Thursday, April the 3rd, 2025, Storm in the Teacup, episode 8. Spring has definitely sprung. I think we can safely assume that.
Indeed. It's beautiful, actually. I love this sort of weather. It's not too hot, not too cold.
Well, it's lovely because during the day when the sun's out, you can actually get quite warm from the heat of the sun. As soon as you move into the shadow, or as soon as the sun goes down in the evening, it does get quite chilly.
Yeah.
All international traders right now are getting quite warm as well.
It's the trade war, isn't it? The tariffs, the deadly tariffs.
Yeah.
Just before we came on, I was listening to the European Union, von der Leyen, what's her name, just talking about it and sort of giving the whole "this is terrible and the world's going to collapse and we're all going to burn in flames" kind of speech. Actually, yeah, they're not liking it at all, are they?
But it's ironic that the EU has tariffs of its own.
Of course. Did you see the? I guess you must have seen the chart that the administration released with all of the tariffs and all of the reciprocal tariffs that they've put out, and all of the reciprocal tariffs are not as much as the tariffs that the US government are being tariffed. And interestingly enough, there is one notable absence, one country which is notably absent from that list.
Yes.
Well, it is.
I think I know what you mean. But there was a couple of, I'd say there was quite a few. Do you mean Russia then?
Yes.
Yeah.
No Russia on that list.
Yes, I know. I kind of sprung to that one, but well, again, it's our ball court, it's our sort of conspiracy place for our chats. We love this kind of stuff, and it's one of those, really, isn't it? What do you think about that? Oh, I don't know.
So I think we've got to wait for the dust to settle a bit on all of this to see what happens. I mean, the UK's got away with a 10% tariff, but I think that's what the UK was tariffing them anyway. The EU's got 20%. I think China have ended up with a total of about 50% or somewhere around there, all told. So they're getting hit pretty hard.
This is puzzling. I mean, I hope America's got the manufacturing capability to fill that possible gap.
Yeah, well, this is what they're planning on, isn't it? I mean, there are reports of a lot of companies now moving to the USA to avoid the tariffs, so it's going to be a period of it's going to be a bit of a wobble for them. But once things get up and running, which they are planning they will, I think they're going to be pretty strong. We'll see. There's surely going to be forces at work trying to derail this at every opportunity. So,
no doubt.
What I found interesting, what you said about the list, and us included, the tariffs were all around about, most of them, were all around about 50% of what USA was getting tariffed by that country. And I thought that was an interesting move, in as much as it's very hard to argue with that. So there's very few countries that can say, how dare Trump do this? This is terrible. And see, we told you he was a crazy person, because, well, he's only doing half of what you're doing to him. So that kind of eliminated that part of the argument.
Yeah, and it's very interesting as well. Before this, how many people knew what countries were tariffing other countries? Nobody really knew, did they? Nobody was really aware. But now it's all been kind of laid out in front of everyone, and it's all there for everyone to see. So it's a bit of an education at the same time. as well.
And the uneducated are shrieking.
Yeah, of course. Mm.
Vietnam was a 90% they charge USA. I think in a glance that was the one that stuck out to me as being the highest.
Well, yeah, what do America buy from Vietnam? What is it? What's so essential from them that that they need?
Well,
What does
I know what we get from Vietnam, and it's an awful lot of seafood, prawns, but particularly a fish I find it doesn't really taste of anything. It tastes, I suppose, I imagine, a bit like that lagging that you put in your loft. You know, that yellow lagging.
what fish are you talking about?
It's called bassa. They're huge amounts are grown in the Mekong Delta, I think. Some are in Japan. In Vietnam. And they're a kind of catfish. They're very cheap to produce. They're cheapest in the supermarkets. You look at the label; it all comes from Vietnam. And it's a nasty fish. It's nasty because it's not really much like a fish. You know?
This is kind of the irony of a lot of this for me in this country. We don't produce a hell of a lot of anything in this country anymore. But one thing we can do is provide fish. We're an island. We're surrounded by the sea, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
We really shouldn't have to be importing seafood and fish from other countries unless it's something really exotic that we can't get in our colder waters here. So yeah, that seems just really crazy. I mean, we have a lot of kind of produce in our supermarkets that we import, like tomatoes. We get tomatoes from Spain and Morocco. It's like we can grow tomatoes here. What's going on? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, you just set up polytunnels like the Dutch.
Yeah. It seems
Yeah, and I think that's what this sort of tariffs is going to point out to everyone, isn't it? How dependent we are on other people and how ridiculous it is as a concept when you can do it yourself and cut out the vast expanse of cost that there's involved with transporting it across the world.
I'm surprised the fake Greens haven't applauded this, because surely they're not like, they don't like all this flying around, do they? Lorries and bringing stuff from Spain and Portugal and fresh flowers from Kenya, and you know,
that all depends, Viv, on what the that all depends on the politics of it, doesn't it? It's if it's politically suits them politically, then they're okay with it. If it doesn't suit them politically, then they're not okay with it. I mean, with regards to the USA, I think if there's one country on earth which is capable of producing pretty much anything they want, it is the USA. They're a huge country. They've got huge resources. They have differing climates across the country. It's like they have oil, they have gas, they have everything. It's just a matter of them being able to get it together and produce it.
But workers' wages will have to go up then.
Oh, will they?
Well, they should.
No, well, I mean, from America's point of view, this, as Bron says, you've got to get the infrastructure for such a revitalization. But as Trump sort of said, this could be a massive revitalization where indeed all workers are getting paid more. Country goes back to a sort of I don't know what we would say was the highlight of theirs, the 40s or the 50. I don't know, whatever. They'll go back to a richer, more prosperous time where people have a future to look forward to, as opposed to, I think they've started to bring Americans down like they have done our country, and unfortunately we're in the midst of it, and we're all depressed as hell because it's all already been done to us. And I think they were forcing them into being restricted in what they could do to drag them into their new world agenda forum thing crap.
Yeah, I mean, I think if the country starts to thrive economically, then workers' pay going up is going to be just a part of that. It's not going to be an issue. because there'll be so many other areas that's going to be kind of offset by. Be less costs here. I mean, they're talking about, because these tariffs, that they'll probably, it looks like they may be going to abolish ultimately income tax as well. So people are going to have more money in their pockets anyway. The standard of living is going to go up. And the economy is going to boom. So it's all good. And
do you know the only problem I think that will be massive, and I think it's going to be our problem as well, is getting back the education level. I think even if they get the infrastructure, even if they get all the money in, and the companies are all set up and they've got enough people to get into it, I think we've dumbed down our education. I feel so sorry for the younger generations, because it's not their fault. It's whatever they've been taught. But I think they've all been taught crap. And I've often said, I think it's going to take a generation or two to pull that back. But that to me is the biggest restriction, I suppose.
Is that's vital. That kind of underpins everything for the future. You know, how the children are educated, because they are the future. So, and that's why we're in such a bad state now, because we are now reaping the results of all of these indoctrinated kids over the last generation, who are just, most of them are just absolute, you know, not idiots, but they've just got the wrong things been put into their head. They've not been taught the right things about life.
Yeah.
But it looks,
we need technical schools as well, things like technical schools, apprenticeships, that sort of thing.
Actual life skills, rather than just gender studies and all the media studies and all of this crap.
Teaching kids to cook, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Teach them, you know, basic life skills.
Paying bills.
Yeah.
How not to pay bills. I think that's
Oh yes.
How the whole system is a fraud, and taxation is theft. That's what they need to be taught.
Love it.
And again, going back to religion, for the whole being moral to each other and learning what is right and what is wrong as an English person. And it takes us back to this you know, culture. We've got to get back to our culture, and it's got to be taught to children, so that we all grow up together and we are all more cohesive, and we'll like each other more, because we'll all have the same values, as opposed to the crazy streets that are out there at the moment. That even as an ex-squaddy, I think I don't want to go out at night. It's a dangerous, crazy place out there now. It's getting as bad as some of the places they sent me when I was in.
Yeah,
you want to know what? Oh, sorry, carry on, man.
I was just going to say, it does seem like the groundwork for that is being laid in the USA at the moment, in terms of education and the whole fabric of society. Over here in the UK, it doesn't look good right now, but who knows? You know, we can hopefully, you know, we can hope that will change in the future.
We can muddle on through as usual, but that's not quite good enough, is it? Really now?
No.
I'm waiting for our first Chad City to spring up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Most of the. Have you heard about this in Birmingham? How the bin men have been on strike, and the whole city is just cluttered up with rubbish bags everywhere.
Yep, I have heard about it. And I'll quickly, before I forget this, talking about lawless streets, on my way back from work, there's smoke billowing just as I could come across the bridge from work and getting to cross the road. And there's a car and it's on fire. I'm thinking, whoa. So I say to the fireman, what's going on, mate? What's going on here? And he goes, that's what we're trying to find out. So a couple of lads lounging about. I said, what happened here, boys? And he goes, the car stopped at the lights, and then people were saying, look, your car's on fire. There's smoke, there's fire coming from your car. So the geezers drive on a bit. They drive off the road onto the verge. They get out the car's fully engulfed in flames, and they run away.
Was it, out of interest, did you happen to notice if it was an electric car?
That's the first thing. That's the first thing. I looked at it and I thought, no, that's not an electric. That's a diesel car. It was a diesel car. What I think here is that the two lads were going. I reckon they had drugs in them in that car, and I think they might be right. I think that's what it was. I think it's county lines, because it's county lines. Ipswich is big for county lines.
What they supply to the car to so there's no evidence.
No. I think the fire took them by surprise. They were carrying a consignment, and they just thought, damn it! Jumped out with the gear, ran away.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's why they ran away.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I've had a car go up in flames on me years ago. I've been driving. It was actually my girlfriend at the time. It was her car, and there had been quite a strong smell of fuel for the preceding week. And then one morning we came out and got into it, started the engine, and I can just see through the crack in the bonnet at the front. I can just see flames underneath. I'm like, what the hell? So I get out, open it up, and it's all on fire. It's like, my God. I said to her, get out. And the fire brigade came, and we just stood there and watched the car go up in flames. It was really sad.
Yeah. I think that's what happened in this case. It looked like the fire was centered in the engine area under the bonnet. It was proper going up. It was proper going out.
Yeah, probably a fuel leak or something in there somewhere, and I don't know. Yeah.
But anyway, there you go. I mean, county lines here. Ipswich is bad for this. There have been stabbings. There are gangs. A couple of people have been topped. They're kids, in gangs. They come down on trains. The police are sometimes there at the train station. And they bring consignments in from London, from gangs in London. Plausible deniability. Oh, it's just a kid carrying a few wraps or whatever, maybe clearly more than that. And then they're distributed around the area. There's a podcast, the name of which I forget. It's very interesting. Exploring county lines in Ipswich. The water in Ipswich is contaminated with traces of cocaine.
When you say county lines, Viv, what do you mean by that? How is that relevant?
County lines is when you introduce plausible deniability. You produce the product somewhere, you ship it over the counties. It goes from London, then it goes up on the train to the county of Suffolk. So you're crossing county lines. And therefore the supply is obscured. So the cops may bust somewhere and they get, wow, there's a kilo of cocaine here. Where did it come from?
Surely that's not just Ipswich. That can happen all over the country, can't it? I mean, there's
everywhere. But it's close enough to London for that to happen. And I dare say Colchester, Chelmsford, all those places, even up as far as Norwich. Right. But yeah, of course, it spreads out from the central processing areas. Maybe washing coke, making crack. I don't know, but I do know.
I wonder if it comes in. I wonder if it comes in through the ports as well. It comes from abroad, Lowestoft, and so on and so forth.
Well, Felixstowe would be the main entry point.
Felixstowe.
That's your biggest container port. But containers, it's not always that easy. It's not always that easy with containers. I've got a mate who used to work at Felixstowe, and the talk of people being smuggled, drugs being smuggled, those containers are X-rayed and they're checked. You can get into them. So it may not be Felixstowe. I think that there's a lot of drug smuggling, a lot of people smuggling that also comes in through light aircraft. Yeah.
Oh yeah, private airfields. Yeah.
Yeah, there's several near here. There's several. We stumbled upon once a couple of years ago.
The question about the containers being X-rayed, the question then is always, well, how much do you trust the people doing the X-raying? They could be they could be in on it as well. Some of them, it could be a
Correct.
certain amount that they think, okay, yeah, we've got to let a certain amount through. We'll bust a shipment every once in a while for the optics. Like, yeah, look, we're fighting the drug trade and blah 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 blah. So and that could well go for people smuggling as well.
I think they do have heat detecting as well. So, but as far as the drugs go, yeah, of course, it's you could get through. You can get through this. You know, you can get by that. But I do know that my mate has told me on several occasions that whilst working down the port, they see something in a container, open it up. On one occasion, he went into one of the offices and they were all drinking whiskey. They just got into a container, found a whole load of whiskey.
Perks of the trade.
Perks of the trade, innit?
Actually, talking about, I saw that they're going to look into the the hairdressers. What is it? The
Turkish barbers. Yeah, Turkish barbers.
Oh, it was the barbers. That's it, Turkish barbers.
Do you see my article? That's very funny. I wrote that last night. Yeah, I put it up there. It's mainly about the sweet shops, but Turkish barbers as well.
Well, I was going to say we've had two not far from where I live, and for weeks, no, months, I've been saying to people, it's interesting. There's never anyone in there. There's never anyone in there, and there isn't. There's never anyone in there, and yet the most adorned, well-kept, expensive-looking places around here, and it's just like it's so obvious they don't even fit in with the rest of the shops that are all decrepit and haven't got any money to keep them going, sort of thing.
Yeah. Check my article out, man.
I mean, I do wonder as well. I think Turkish barbers, because they talked about Turkish barbers and nail bars, which are meant to be kind of the hub of a lot of where the illegals go, or for money laundering, this, that, and the other. And I do wonder sometimes, because there's so many of those around, and I do wonder, it's like, how many other places are doing? These can't be the only places which are doing that. There must be loads of all of these types of businesses, because a lot of them just pop up and then close after a few months, and then another one pops up and then closes. It's like a conveyor belt. I do think it's rife. I really do. It's not just the Turkish barbers and the nail bars. That's for sure.
No,
but again, this is how we gently bring the rest of the population into the knowledge of the darker side of what goes on in the world.
Yeah, I mean, but at the moment it's just talk, isn't it? It's just Starmer saying this is what we're going to do, and of course, talk is nothing, especially from someone like him.
Well, yeah, he's good at that. I mean, in the article I wrote, the piece last night, I did point out that there have been investigations in this. Westminster Council investigated. I first noticed this when I was walking along Oxford Street, and I was thinking, there are a lot of American candy shops. What's this all about then? Mm-hmm. And I started counting them. I was with Ryan, and then we were counting them, and then we sort of were chatting and lost count. There are so many on Oxford Street. There's down in Soho. They're everywhere around central London. There is one legitimate one called World of Sweets, which is set up by an English fella, or maybe UK-based fella anyway. And then it seems that this has caught on. This has caught on in a massive way. And I went in there, actually, funnily enough, with Lady F. We were wandering around central London. She was craving bullseyes, so she goes up to the slack-jawed teenager at the till, and she goes, "Oh, where are the bullseyes, please?" And he's going, and she goes, bullseyes, sweets. You're a sweet shop. Where are the bullseyes? For non-UK people, bullseyes are they're kind of gobstopper, really, or what you call jawbreakers. In America, they're sort of aniseedy, a pretty old Victorian era type sweets, spoiled sugar sweets, flavoured. Yeah, he didn't have a clue. I was looking around and thinking, you what? You're having a bubble bath. The prices are extraordinary in there. You're talking masses of money. But no one's in there. No one was in there. What they're doing, it seems, is they're ringing up They're just ringing stuff up, sales, non-existent sales, and saying, "Oh yeah, we sold this, we sold that, we sold this," and that is laundering. You're washing the money, then, aren't you? From wherever. What is the money? Drug money, people smuggling? Don't know. No. So the nail bars are Vietnamese. The barbers mostly are Turkish. Then you have the European food stores, which there's a plethora in this town. Now there's just too many for the population, especially with barbers. The young men of Ipswich, they all have the Turkish fade, and some Turkish barbers, when I used to go to them, are really expert in this. Okay, they are very, very good at what they do. The really good ones are packed, so word gets round. But there are others. There's no one in them. No one. You know.
Most of them that I see, they're like 4D said, they're empty. There's hardly. You might get one person in there. The guy will usually be sitting outside on a chair, drinking a coffee and smoking a cigarette, and or watching football on TV.
That's right. Exactly. It's very odd.
Seen it where I've genuinely even seen it where you'll have 2 or 3 people that are pretending to work as a barber, but one of them will be sat down while the other one is pretending to work on his hair when they all work in there. So they're not working on each other's hair, but it just looks like there's a customer in there. And because it's only just down the road, and I go down there all the time for my milk or my whatever I'm getting, I go past. No, there's generally hardly anyone ever in there. I think, like Bronze just said, maybe 1-2 people a week.
Everyone knows. Everyone I talk with in this small town say, well, "What's all this about? What's going on?" You know.
There is some really good news which has come out. Our fearless leader, Sir Keir Starmer, has banned ninja swords. So that this plague of ninja violence that we've been suffering, all the ninjas, they'll be gone. Thank God for that. We've had enough of them.
Done it. Salted. That man has got steel teeth.
Yeah, he's got.
What a bunch of arse.
Yeah, I know.
It wasn't the bloke who killed the other bloke. It was the ninja sword that done it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a case of a ninja sword attack in this country anyway.
No, that's what I mean. It's completely out of the blue. It's like, what do you mean you're banning ninja swords? What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, and he made such a big deal about it. It's like, we do what we keep to our word. We do what we say we're going to do, and we're going to ban ninja swords. It's like, what?
Yeah, I mean,
apparently
the Japanese are furious.
Yeah. Tariff. There go the tariffs. Tariffs on ninja swords.
God's sake, I mean, I'm not taking advice, and I'm not taking anyone seriously who's essentially supports terrorism, is a member of a minority extremist government that's supported by under 20% of the population. I'm sorry, I can't take that seriously, that bloke. Ban ninja swords, yeah. Well, I a couple of months ago, my potato peeler, I thought, I'm going to need a new potato peeler. So I go into B&M, which is a largely Chinese, it sells Chinese products, basically, at a very cheap price. I get a potato peeler, and someone came over and had to check my age. I was all right. I wasn't going to, go out immediately and start peeling people to death on the streets.
Well,
they had to check your age. They had to check your age.
Yeah, I know. That's funny, isn't it? I should be flattered, mate.
I had to get some nail clippers from Amazon, and to get nail clippers, you have to give your age. I'm not even joking.
He jumped out on me, Governor, from the dark. He was brandishing a pair of nail clippers.
Yeah, he clipped me good and proper, he did. I've never been so manicured in my life.
I never had to go to the nail bar that day.
The thing is, they're crap at cutting your nails.
He almost manicured me to death. He did.
Oh, if only it's great we can laugh about this, but if we didn't, we'd cry. You know,
Yeah.
it's so moronic. It's so moronic.
I saw a Babylon B article saying about how it was something along the lines of, this woman's been reported for using a butter knife to spread butter on her bread. There's outrage because she used a knife to spread her butter.
A maniac attacked an innocent civilian the other day with a butter knife. After 12 hours, he managed to, what the hell? Butter knives are blunt, you morons.
Oh, geez, where's it going to end, eh?
I don't know. In the Babylon Bee, presumably.
Yeah, that's going to become an official news source if this goes on much.
It pretty much is a major news source now. You know, judging by the captured mainstream media and the nonsense they put out. You know.
Do either of you, or are either of you aware of Salty Cracker? He is genuinely, he's my source of news from America now. I just find his disregard for everything. I enjoy listening to him.
Right.
Yeah, I'm aware of him. I find him hard to watch. I just don't like his style. It kind of gets on my nerves.
He is a bit. That's the thing. He's very overpowering. I suppose that appeals to me. But he's definitely Marmite. Yeah.
I'm noting that down anyway. Just have a little look. You know.
Even his name. You know, the Salty Cracker. Once you understand the connotation behind that and what he's saying, I just love. I love his look at life, I suppose.
Oh, he's a pale skinned geezer, is he?
Yes.
Yeah. I see that. It's American term, isn't it? Cracker.
And he gets very salty, so you know.
Yeah. That's never taken off over here, has it? That word, cracker.
Do you know where it comes from? Do you know where that?
It's US, isn't it? It's US.
It is. Yeah, it's more. It's definitely more generally used in the US. But do you know where the term originates from?
No, please.
Apparently, it means like a whip cracker, like a slave owner, you know, cracking a whip.
Right.
So I've read. Don't hold me to that. But
no, of course. Like so much we say on here, you know, it's just going around our heads, isn't it? And it's a bit unreferenced, shall we say? But yes. I like it. Thanks.
Yeah. Shall we? Is it time for our weekly Norman section?
Do you mean Norman? You talk about Norman Wisdom.
Norman Wisdom, yes. How did you guess? It's incredible, Viv.
Well, I think I did find out Norman Wisdom was actually knighted, so that's some development.
I was aware that he got an OBE.
I'm wrong again.
I don't know. He may well have been knighted, but I will say that since this seems to be becoming a regular feature, I thought, do you know what? I haven't watched the Norman Wisdom film since I was a kid. And I don't really. I should really kind of maybe find out a little bit more about him if we're going to be talking about him regularly. So I did go and have a look, and he was listed as being OBE. He wasn't listed as being a knight. But no, I think he did get a knighthood because there's that funny clip of him when he received it from the Queen, and he walked away and he did one of his little comedy trips and made the Queen laugh.
Yeah.
Here
it is. 12th of September 2022. Sir Norman Wisdom receives knighthood from Queen. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but so and like I said, I hadn't seen a Norman Wisdom film since I was a kid. So I thought, you know what, maybe I should actually check out some of his films and see how, you know, if they stand the test of time. So I did go and look at his first film, which was 1953, and it was called Trouble in Store. And that was when he first appeared as that the Norman Wisdom character, which he called the Gump. He called him, you know, the kind of the scruffy, you know, kind of ill-fitting suit type character who just spreads chaos and anarchy everywhere. And the film itself was it was kind of I suppose it was of its time. and it definitely would appeal to kind of children, the type of humor. But it was quite fun to watch, and
It's
did have
a lot of falling over, isn't it? I'm sorry, I just put my hands up. Oh, more far right disinformation. Norman Wisdom was actually knighted in 2000.
okay.
Oh God, I'm going to be investigated by BBC Verify now.
Oh no, you're on a list.
Oh,
But they do have some good supporting characters in some of those films. So yes, I've got a few more to watch. I think they do get better. Some of his later ones. I think one of his best one is called the one which is he's is meant to be one of his better ones is the one where he's a milkman. It's called The Early Bird, I think it's called.
oh
Where
yeah.
he's a
I love.
milkman,
Yeah.
and that's one where his boss is Mr. Grimsdale, and this rival dairy pops up, and there ensues these kind of all these sort of ding dongs between the two dairies as they vie for kind of vie for dominance. And there was another one called The Square Peg, where he plays he's in the army, and he accidentally, through whatever means, gets parachuted into Nazi occupied France, and he plays a dual role. He plays that character, his normal character, but he also plays this Nazi commander, and of course he gets mistaken by the Germans for this Nazi commander, and you can guess what happens.
Yeah, that sounds all right. I think
Yeah.
I've seen that. I remember that the Milkman one. I loved that as a kid. It used to be shown a lot on telly.
Yes, yeah. I think Norman Wisdom films. When I was a kid, okay, there were certain films that when they came on TV were a real treat as a kid. Okay, things like James Bond films and Carry On films. They're always you always knew you're going to have a lot of fun watching them. And Norman Wisdom films were in that category as well. It's like,
Yeah.
Norman Wisdom film as a kid. It's like yeah, got to watch Norman Wisdom film.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Gentle days, much gentler days. Yeah, I mean it's silly humour. It's some of those films are a bit shit, really, to be honest. But it doesn't take away from his skill, especially all that falling over. You're right, kids loved all that, and that bumbling around.
Well, you've mentioned previously, Viv, that it's very formulaic. A lot of his films are basically the same storyline, but just in different settings.
Yeah, exactly.
And they follow pretty much the same plot, just with different characters and different settings.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, some of them are shit. Absolutely. I think the second one, which was called One Good Turn, was pretty crap. I think they do get a bit better. There is another one called A Stitch in Time, I think.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
On the Beat is the one where he plays.
Yeah. I think I've seen them all. I must have seen them all as a kid.
And like you say, he was very talented. He was in the music as well. Have you heard him do any of his music stuff?
Well, he does. He sings songs in pretty much most of his films. He sings a song or two.
I don't know how well this will come out, but do you know which instrument he's playing here? Hang on, let's see if this works. Yeah, he was quite an accomplished drummer. That was him on the drums.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah.
I
So
think
he was just a multi-talented, let's entertain people kind of guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's huge. He's huge in Albania. He's a hero in Albania. Could you believe that?
Yeah, that happened later on. That happened when he was that happened back in the 80s or the 90s, after his kind of star had sort of waned in this country. and he wasn't making films anymore here. But all of a sudden, he became popular in Albania, which was really bizarre.
I've
In those
just
strange places.
hilarious. I'm just looking at. I knew about the Albanian thing, but Wikipedia. Well, okay, never mind. Sorry about that. But Norman Wisdom became a cultural icon in Albania, where he was one of the few Western actors whose films were allowed in the country under Enver Hoxha. Hoxha was, the Soviet leader, socialist, communist leader, really. And according to Hoxha's dialectical materialist viewpoint, proletarian Normans ultimately victorious struggles against capitalism personified Mr. Grimsdale. And the effete, as aristocratic characters played by Jerry Desmond, were a communist parable on the class war. And he was known as Mr. Pitkin.
Yeah, it's Norman Pitkin. Jerry Desmond appeared in quite a few of his films.
Yeah.
He plays a new store owner in that first one, Trouble in Store, and of course Norman falls foul of him very quickly, and they have this ongoing to and fro.
Yeah, brilliant.
There's also carry on. Sorry,
I was just going to say Jerry Desmond was in that Good Life, wasn't he? He was the Bob and what's her name's neighbour in the sitcom.
No, that wasn't him. No, that was Paul Eddington.
Yeah, similar character. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I think you're confusing the writers of The Good Life. One was called Bob Esmond, I think.
Oh, probably.
That's maybe,
probably.
I did like that program.
It's beautiful, wasn't it? And I must say, I've got scrambled eggs for brains by now. So forgive me.
There was, can I just say before we move on from this subject, there was one line in that Trouble in Store which I thought was quite funny. There's Margaret Rutherford, this kind of English actress who always played these dotty, eccentric women in the 50s and 60s films. She plays this character and she's a shoplifter. Okay, and she goes into the store and she goes straight to the suitcase department and slaps on all these travel stickers and just takes a suitcase and then spends the rest of the film just going around the store nicking stuff and nobody notices, right? Until she's got all of these bags and everything, and Norman Wisdom goes to help her at one point. She goes, "Oh, aren't you a delightful young man? Are you from London?" He says, "Yes, I was born in London, but I go to school in Scotland." She said, "You must have been awfully tired when you got home."
I love all that.
Isn't that where he's doing the comic? Yeah. He's doing all the comic pulling of the bags because they're really heavy, isn't it?
Yeah. Everybody's tripping over themselves to help her, and they don't realise that she's nicked all of this stuff.
Yeah. I love Margaret Rutherford as well. Love her. She played. She did a lot of. Actually, I think she was Miss Marple.
Yes, she was.
In the Agatha Christie, some of the Agatha Christie adaptations.
Yeah. So yes, Norman Wisdom. We doff our caps to you.
Yeah,
Sir Norman Wisdom.
Bless him.
Indeed, yeah. I love it with us British, more the English actually. The English have got I love our sense of humour, but we have got a weird that Monty Python sort of crazy, eccentric sense of humour that comes from England. I obviously I love it because I'm English, so obviously I'm going to laugh at it. But I do like our sense of humour. I find it very bizarre.
Yeah, it does crack me up. I mean, yes, something like Life of Brian is a masterpiece, really, when you think about it.
Absolutely is, yes. I mean, a lot of people like Holy Grail, which is good, but that was very much in the sort of kind of sketch format of the TV shows, whereas Life of Brian was an actual story.
Yeah,
it was much more. It had much more of a kind of a plot line and a theme running through it. So I prefer Life of Brian. I like Holy Grail, but Life of Brian is just brilliant.
Yeah, it's coherent. It hangs together better. But even so, there are just moments in Holy Grail that are so mental, so funny. The the Black Knight, "'Tis but a scratch." It's just
I remember sort of times drinking and watching that film, and I could watch it over and over again. I'd still laugh, and I'm talking like raw rippling. I'd be proper laughing at some of the things because I just, again, it's that complete stupidness that I just find absolutely hilarious.
I know. It's so absurd, isn't it? It's so bloody absurd.
Yeah.
The big, I forget which one it is, with the big guy at the beginning. Is it just one last mint, and it's after his meal, and it's, I mean, again, it's so pathetic, it's so rubbish and ridiculous, but I just find it hilarious.
Yeah, that's meaning of
That's
life.
the other one.
Meaning of life, that's it.
Meaning of life, yeah.
One more wafer thin mint, monsieur. No,
Yeah.
fuck off. One teeny weeny little mint. Yeah.
They were definitely playing around with some psychedelics, I think.
I don't know. They're all public school educated, weren't they? So I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it. But
another great export of ours. That because again, it's our sense of humour, but a lot of countries really love. I think is it Germany that I think it's Germany that love Monty Python, and most of them can't even understand what's being said, and yet they still love the visual part of it as well.
Well, it's huge in the USA, but also Benny Hill is huge in the USA. So I don't know how that kind of how those two fit together.
Oh, there's some dodgy things I've read about him as well.
Yeah, he was a little bit iffy for sure, but
I mean, Benny Hill's in it.
Very, very iffy, I think.
Ben's amusing, isn't he, for a while, but it's very repetitive, you know.
Yeah.
But it has, I suppose, there is some laughs to be had. It's a bit like, I don't know if you remember, what's that one that Dick Emery? That was so repetitive. Do you remember Dick Emery? No.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Dick Emery was good. He was like the forerunner of kind of Harry Enfield, I think.
Yes,
with
exactly.
these characters, that he created his own comic characters, and then just had them in sketches week after week in various different situations. The few catch thrown in.
I think the apogee, the final cry of all that sort of style of character comedy, sketch comedy, was the Fast Show, because they called it fast because Dick Emery, some of those sketches went on forever. Even Harry Enfield sketches could go on a bit too long. So the Fast Show, obviously, they thought, Paul White thought, cut it right down, just cut it down, a couple of minutes at most.
Yeah, the Fast Show was really good. Well, both Harry Enfield was really good as well.
Yeah.
Before everything went all censorious and woke, and you couldn't make a joke about anything anymore. Comedy died.
I'm afraid so. Yeah, comedy was vanquished, as don't know why really, but it was.
Yeah.
It all started with Write-On comics back in the 80s. All he had to say was Ben Elton had to say Margaret Thatcher, and everyone started laughing. Right.
I felt the same with the whole loads of money. It was those. They got to a point where they would just say things and the crowd would laugh, and I'd be like, "This is really." Some things are not funny.
Yeah, it could be funny as an initial sketch, carry on a bit, but it's overexposure. You know, you got to know when to end. In comedy, you've got to know when to. You know, it's because comedy is all about
timing.
There we go. So, 40 Towers, 2 series, perfect.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and that's one of those that everyone thinks there's a lot more episodes than there are because it's that good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For some reason, something else popped into my head. One of my favourite sketches is Bob Newhart, the driving instructor.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, he's got that timing where he talks very slowly, and you can almost anticipate what he's going to say next, and so you're laughing because you've already kind of guessed where he's going because it's so obvious. But I love that driving instructor and just the whole back and forth between him and what's her name, Mrs. I forget what her name is, but anyway, yeah, brilliant sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that one. Not aware of that.
Yeah, Bob Newhart. Yeah. I think it's his best known. Again, Newhart's been a bit forgotten. He's been overshadowed by more sort of perhaps edgy people, like obviously going up to Bill Burr now in the American scene, and George Carlin, and of course Bill Hicks, and what's that black geezer called? Gregory. I can't remember. There's a lot of them.
Yeah,
I think Bob Newhart's
passed,
passed, hasn't he?
Probably.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's ages ago. That was ages.
Yeah,
It was sort of a bit overshadowed as well. It was a more gentle comedy. It was overshadowed a bit by people like Lenny Bruce, who were more.
I don't know if you're aware of Big Bang Theory, but he ended it up on the Big Bang Theory playing a part as an eccentric old ex-scientist, and his role on that was it's such. I mean, the Big Bang Theory was a big comedy anyway, sitcom, and it was all the characters are well known. But he had such an impact that he stole the complete show for me every time he was on there. So again, if you want to see Bob Newhart in a completely different scene, have a look at him in the Big Bang Theory. Brilliant.
Yeah. Oh well. R.I.P. comedy.
Yeah.
Killed by liberal Puritans.
Yeah, it'll come back. You can't kill comedy. It's just having a hiatus at the moment. It'll be back.
I know. Yeah, I know. That's right.
Because it's not like our illustrious leader has made any problem with us having free speech or anything. It's not like he's changed any.
No, not at all. No.
Well, having said that, did you see that? I've not seen any, or maybe I did see an official report of this. But, the president of the United States, who I'm hesitant to mention because I don't want his picture popping up under this YouTube video. He has said that there will be no trade deal with the UK until we get our free speech back.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, and it's a great call, isn't it? It's especially after sitting next to him and saying, "Oh no, we're very proud of our free speech laws, Mr. Sir." Yeah.
Exactly. What a load of Horlicks.
The guy's got some front.
He's got some proper front, but it's to be expected. He's a proven lawyer.
He is.
Yes. So. Yeah.
So there are encouraging movements in the universities, these citadels of higher learning. I note that there is now a free speech movement spreading throughout universities in our United Isle.
I did see something about that. Yes, that's quite encouraging, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly
is.
That's
the great thing about our youth. You tell the youth not to do something, and that's the thing they're going to do. So,
yeah, that's very true.
Yeah. What about? I think the most controversial one, which is again because of the law of free speech, it's hard for us to even discuss. But now, was it yesterday that now my melanin levels in my skin is going to dictate what kind of a sentence I get if I do something wrong? Where
that has been quashed, I believe. That has been.
Has it really?
Yes, I believe that's been given the elbow, the Spanish archer.
Yeah, at least it's
even been a concept. If we're supposed to be getting rid of racism. You cannot have reverse racism and think that's not racism.
Yeah, well, it's worse than that, I believe. Isn't it saying basically that people with more melanin in their skin are childlike? They can't help themselves, you see. Yeah, that's an awful thing. Isn't that a terrible thing to say? I think so, anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's way too rational, Viv. That's way too rational. That's not going to stand. How dare you?
I'm sorry about that.
Stop
Yeah,
making
yeah.
sense, please.
I'm sorry. I was victim blaming.
Yeah, so yeah, thankfully that has, I mean, it was ridiculous obviously from the beginning, but yes, that has been that has been outed. That's been consigned to the dust. Well, not consigned to the dustbin. It's been suspended apparently, which is not off the table completely, but there is pushback to it, and rightly so. So yeah, it's been exposed for what it is, which is blatant racism.
Yeah,
I think I want to go out with a banner saying, "You don't need to worry about the melanin in my skin. You need to worry about the potato peeler in my hand."
yeah. Oh, another man's been found peeled to death near a B&M store.
So have you? Is anyone expecting in this country Tesla cars to start being vandalized? Because it seems to be all the rage at the moment in the USA.
Yeah, bound to happen. America catches, what was it? America sneezes, Britain catches a cold.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got there's a house on my street that has a Tesla in it, and people moved in there. I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago. It used to be a really run down house, and they've obviously got a bit of money. They bought it and they've done it all up, and they've got this bright new red Tesla sitting in. They paved over the front garden so they could park their car in it, and it's this beautiful brand new red Tesla. And they've just gone and completely ruined it by putting these anti-Elon stickers on it. I just think you are so stupid to do that. And
that's astonishing.
It is. I mean, they've got one sticker on the front which says Elon with in a red circle with a cross through it, and then another sticker on the back that says "Send Elon to Mars." And I'm just thinking, the joke's on you. It really is on you. Do you not see how ridiculous this is? That you're kind of you're protesting. You bought this car, and you're now protesting that you own this car. You're protesting against yourself.
Yeah, beautiful. It's beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful.
I would really love. I wouldn't do it, but I would just so much love to go and just paint on the pavement outside their house. The joke's on you. We heart Elon.
And it's the left that eat in the left, in as much as I remember a time when the green and the Save the Planet people were saying to buy an electric car, and that was the push that the green people and good people had cars, which were generally lefties. And now the lefties don't like the lefties, and they're destroying the lefties' cars. And I just think, oh, the irony.
Yeah, it is. It just goes to show that what they really their ideals are just completely false, because they don't. It's not really about saving the planet. It's not really about the environment. It's politically motivated. And as soon as he came out and joined the other side, shall we say, he was a Nazi. And all of his cars are now kind of genuine targets for vandalism. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And the thing is as well, it's like if you're going to go and key a car or scratch a swastika on it, pick a car that doesn't have a camera. For God's sakes, because they're all getting caught on camera. All these Teslas have got cameras in them, right? And they're all getting caught on these cameras doing it.
Yeah, it's mental. I'd have to say, I'm not even sure if these people are actual sort of lefties as such, ideological lefties. They're just dreamy liberals.
Yeah.
I think that's being too kind, Viv.
Yeah, sorry, but I mean, I think at least if a lefty will be anti-capitalist, so they're not going to buy. They're going to buy some shitty old second-hand car. Lefties I know wouldn't buy a Tesla. You know?
Yeah.
But that's by the by.
Well, Pam Bondi is now saying, she's 20 years, maximum of 20 years jail time, and once a few of these start getting put away, which I hope they will. It should stop once they realise it's not the most cleverest thing in the world to just go around vandalising cars.
No, it's not, is it?
Mm.
No. There are other ways. There are other ways, like not buying them in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. Which is probably happening.
It's that fire I saw today. I genuinely thought my first thing that I popped up in my mind is, oh, that's an electric car.
Yes. Oh, that you know, the two go together, don't they? It's the normal process of thought now, isn't it? When you see a car on fire, oh, electric car, because we know that.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh well, shall we move on or?
Yeah, let's move on. Not in an electric car though.
Nah, no, definitely not.
Anybody else got anything particularly want to talk about?
I did want to talk about the book I'm reading, but I'm not. I mean, I don't like the word proud. It's a deadly sin. Pride is a deadly sin. Okay, so I won't say that.
Chuffed. You're pleased with yourself.
I'm chuffed. I'm pleased with myself. Yeah. I'm whamming through this book about the Son of Sam killings in New York. It's freaking me out.
This is not the Laurel Canyon book which you mentioned before.
No, I finished Laurel Canyon. This is about the Son of Sam murders in New York, which were terminated in 1977 with the arrest of the alleged Son of Sam. What this journalist or this writer, this investigative reporter is saying is that Son of Sam didn't act alone. There's actually quite a freaky, scary, satanic cult that were involved. Now, bear in mind, I'm about 250 pages in. It's a huge doorstopper. But as I say, I'm pleased, proud of myself I'm pleased with myself, rather, that I'm whamming through it. It's just, I'm put down. Do I believe it? There's a lot of conjecture. There's a lot of conjecture in this. But if it's true, my God.
When was this meant? Because I don't know anything about this. So
no, that's what I was thinking. I don't really know much about this.
You'll have to give us a bit of background, Viv.
Yeah, a quick bit of background. In the 76, 77, there were 13 shootings in New York, particular areas of New York as well. That a man approaches generally a courting couple in a car and shoots them with a .44 Bulldog gun, handheld gun, which is quite rare apparently. I don't know a great deal about guns. Anyways, he kills, I think 7 died. The rest were, some of them very seriously injured. Really remarkable. Terrorized New York at the time during the disco era. This was so cops, they find this man, David Berkowitz, who was, he's the one, he's the killer. He taunted the police, he'd written letters. But then this book, oh my God. He's linking it to essentially a satanic death cult which was linked to the original cult called the Process Church of the Final Judgment. It's a splinter group that split off from them. They were a British cult group who believed in the union of Christ and Satan. Yeah. They added Jehovah and Lucifer to that mix as well a bit later. So you got 4 of these so-called gods.
That was the bit. That was the only bit I'd looked into, was the 4 gods and what they represented was the 4 qualities that they believed that they had to live by, wasn't it?
That's right.
After you mentioned that last week, Viv, I did have a quick look. And one thing which did jump out to me, it was just on the Wikipedia, so, one thing that did jump out at me was the people who started that Process Church came from Scientology. They were Scientologists before that.
Yes, that's right.
Which
That's
struck me as a bit odd because Scientology doesn't like people leaving Scientology. The fact that they
No,
managed to leave Scientology in the first place is remarkable.
yeah, they were excommunicated by the Scientology cult, the L. Ron Hubbard people.
Yeah, for being too weird. They were too weird for Scientology.
Yeah, it's not only that, but
Right.
they took the e-meter with them. The Scientologists used a thing called, it's basically a lie detector. They took that technology with them and used it. And there's no suggestion whatsoever that the people who formed the Process Church were involved in the killings. They were very strange people. They had a strange philosophy, but so what? You
So
know,
why was it called Son of Sam? Where did that come from?
it's really complicated. The book is called The Search for the Sons of Sam.
Right.
And the premise here is that there was not one son of Sam, but several.
But who's Sam? What's Sam?
Sam is someone who David Berkowitz appears so far to have been a lookout for the satanic death cult, and there was a person called Sam who lived near where Berkowitz lived, and he had a son. The son appears to have been one of the killers. If we take the premise that there were multiple killers during the Son of Sam attacks in the hot summers of 76, 77, or the cold winters as well. So Sam, but Berkowitz said that his dog told him to do this.
Yeah.
Right? Sam's dog. Sam was an old fella. The son of Sam was apparently, it seems, and he again died. The whole thing is littered with death and bodies, and it's really disturbing. The process church, one of the things they had was Alsatian dogs. They walked around them. They had dozens of Alsatians, and one of the weird features about this, one of the creepy things, is that there were numerous killings of Alsatians, which were drained of blood. Some were skinned, probably with British potato peelers. But anyway, and sorry about that, but it's a bit dark. And the blood was drained from some of them. Apparently, satanic rituals. It's really sinister, though, to think if this is true. Police, the New York Police Department, or the particular division of the police, really needed badly to pin the crime on someone. And Berkowitz appears to have given himself up as a frontman, as a sort of sole perpetrator. Pictured himself as crazy, didn't get executed, and diverted the whole thing from this alleged cult. If this is true, is it true? I don't know. I really don't know.
A lot of MK Ultra type of stuff going on as well. Then
it's weird. Yeah, it's a bit like Gladio. It's more like Gladio, or but yeah, there's MK Ultra stuff involved. Process did have a number of adherents, but they're never a very big cult. They were really known for their absolutely amazing graphic design. I mean,
Stop it, please.
No, serious. You look at some of those old Process magazines which they hawked on the streets, and the graphic design is incredible. I mean, you've got to say, even the swastika. Sorry, they used the swastika logo to symbolize the four gods that they believed characterized the human archetypes.
Sorry, just you brought up MK Ultra there, which made me think of this other story which has been doing the rounds about Virginia Giuffre.
Good call. Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been looking into that at all, but that's very strange. That's very strange. She was apparently one of the victims of Epstein and Randy Andy. And it seems like she was hit in a car crash by a bus, and she had this horrific damage. Apparently, all this liver damage, internal damage. She released a picture of herself from a hospital bed, and her face was all bruised up. And she said apparently the doctors told her she only had 4 days to live. But there's been a lot of people coming out now, basically saying that this whole story about her is bullshit, and she's making the whole thing up. And there was one very interesting. It was on the one of Dan Wootton's podcasts recently over the last few days, and they reckon that she did it she's been set up to discredit Andrew. So that her story, because if this story is discredited, this current one, then nobody's going to take her seriously, and so all of her accusations against Andrew will also not be taken seriously.
Interesting. I must go and watch the Dan Wootton show, because that's one of the things I was thinking. And I tell you what, like, you know, I love going down these rabbit holes, and so I've been into this some time. And the first thing I thought of when I saw the picture was that she had her necklace on and she had her earrings on. Now, if you any medical situation anywhere in America or here or the Western world, that they take your jewelry off. There's many reasons why they do. So unfortunately for me, straight away I smelt a bit of a monkey going on there. So I thought, right, okay, so she's saying and then you hear that the Australian government is saying that there was no bus accidents in the area, all but one, but it was a very minor accident, hit a car, nothing happened, and the driver reported it, and it was all good. So, as Bron says, there's a bit of controversy of whether it even happened. I personally thought the jewelry on it meant it was a made-up photograph. And so that's where I went with my head. I was thinking, has someone paid her to do, because it's such an obvious, ridiculous thing if it's been made up, that I was thinking, has someone paid her to do this to get to exactly what you just said, so that it sounds like she's the crazy one and it wasn't Randy Andy?
Yeah. I was going to mention that the police report said there wasn't an accident anywhere near. There was, like you said, maybe one accident, but it was just a shunt, and it certainly would not have been serious enough to cause the injuries that she is saying that she has. And for a doctor to tell you you've got 4 days to live is really bizarre as well. Doctors don't tell you you've got 4 days to live, do they? They might say, well, you might have a few months, or you know, you've got a day at best. But 4 days is kind of a bit odd, isn't it?
Good point. Yeah. I hadn't actually thought of that one. That's a very good point. Yeah.
I mean, if you want, I mean, it's worth watching the Dan Wootton podcast because it is very much a pushback against her story. So it is very one sided, but there's a lot of details in there which are quite interesting. If you're worth get some more information about it.
Yeah, sure. I think her name it isn't McKenna. It's something else.
Guthrie.
Guthrie. Yeah. Yep.
Virginia Guthrie.
Yeah, the picture. The picture.
Geoffrey, that's what I said. It's Guthrie, Geoffrey, or Guthrie.
Guthrie. Whatevs. Yep. She's in that very famous picture of Prince Andrew. Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
Indeed.
Which has been now. Well, it's that he's denied that he was actually there, and it's, you know, who knows, but he said it was a setup, it was a Photoshop job or whatever. But
yeah.
I mean, the links to Epstein are still there. You know, the whole thing with Epstein is still there. That's not in any doubt, I don't think. But I think it's is all to do with the case revolving around sweaty Andy.
Yeah, she's a bit of a classic for mind control.
Yeah,
just saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I suppose so that we're not one-sided, if we look at it from the other point of view, or there's many point of views, sorry, but you know, maybe this has been set up for Andy, as in he's pretty. Some people would say he's quite a dumb person, and maybe he would believe that she's got 4 days, and maybe if he believes that they're waiting for something else to happen because of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly many ways of speculating about it for sure.
With that particular picture, I'm now going to zoom back to the Q stuff. I've been waiting for the name Rachel Chandler to come up in, and I've always thought once that name comes up, then we're going to be deep down the rabbit hole. And I also thought, is this where we're going to hear about the possible real name of the person in that photo?
Well, maybe that's still to come, because we're still waiting on the real deal with the Epstein files, aren't we?
True.
Those are still yet to be released. So maybe that's still to come, you know.
Very, very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, who knows? So
I suppose. Sorry for interrupting. What day was that? Because are we not looking around about 4 days ago it happened? So surely we're going to find out one way or the other soon.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but then of course, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was about 4 days ago, I think. So it's probably imminent at the moment. It's kind of easy just to sort of pass that off and say, well, doctors, you know, they sometimes can get it wrong, you know, whatever.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Interesting. Different chess pieces that are being played worldwide at the moment. We've got, in one hand, we've got worldwide tariffs shaking up the world. We've got this with the Epstein files is all moving. There's lots of different chess pieces. Free speech in the UK. Everything we spoke about in the last 3 episodes, actually. Lot of chess pieces moving into this. Go on.
Yeah, sorry, Fordy. One thing I would like to add to that in terms of things happening globally is, I mean, and this is not necessarily something that's happened recently, but it started a few years back. But it seems that there's a definite pattern emerging, and that's kind of been brought into highlight with this case against Marine Le Pen. Now they're trying to lock her up in prison. And you look around and you think this has been happening. You know, they did this to the Donald for the last, whatever it was, 9 or so years. They've been trying to put him down. Bolsonaro in Brazil. You've had they've been trying to ban the AfD in Germany. You had in Poland. You had Donald Tusk move in there and basically take over the Polish government. And also in Ireland, Conor McGregor, who's been coming out and saying he's going to run for president of Ireland, they're now trying to stop him, saying, "Oh, we don't like your views on immigration." It's kind of like this is you know it's going on everywhere now. They're just being really open about it. They're just trying to take out their political opponents. There's a real pattern.
Yeah.
And the Marine Le Pen one is very interesting. It's like, I mean, she's fighting it obviously, but it's apparently there's loads. What she's been charged with of I think it's embezzlement of EU funds or something. People who are sticking up for her are saying there's loads of EU politicians who have been doing this, and none of them have been charged, but they've all done the same crime. So it's,
show me the man, and I'll show you the crime. It's just that, really.
Yeah,
you could characterize politicians essentially as a kind of mafia. They found a very good way to extract money from the population in the form of tribute, much like a medieval king.
Yes, and it's been going on for a long time, but it's being exposed now. That's the interesting thing. It's being brought into the light, and it's just a matter of how many people are becoming aware of it and actually thinking, "Hold on a minute, what's going on here?" And then realizing that this has been going on for ages, and you know, hopefully trying to if enough people do wake up to it, that there'll be a enough of a pushback to actually try and get something done about it.
The minority French left as well are talking about this.
Yes, exactly. Yes, some of her political opponents are actually coming in on her side.
Yeah, I'm looking at a report here, and it says Eric Coquerel, MP for the Radical Left Party LFI, says, I don't agree that things should be decided by the ballot. I don't agree that things that should be decided by the ballot box are decided by the courts.
Well, isn't that exactly what's happening in the USA right now with all these judges, all these radical activist judges? It's incredible. It's incredible. Oh, another country to add to that list was Romania as well. They had an anti-EU populist won the election, and they basically annulled the election. They said, no, we don't like that result. And they cancelled it. So they don't give a shit anymore. They're just so
I know.
Well, I was going to say you missed out the main one. I was going to say, what about Ukraine and what they did? But hey,
yes, exactly, yes, Ukraine, cancelled the elections. Absolutely, yes.
I have to be clear about this. You don't have to like these people. You don't have to support these people. But if you do think, democracy is not a bad idea. There are problems with democracy, sure, but just because your opponent has been removed by lawfare, it appears, this should be concerning. It should really concern you.
Well, yes,
you don't have to like these people, okay?
Well, it's the very principle of the thing. If they can take out someone who you don't like and you're happy with that, then it's like, don't you see that they can do exactly the same to someone you do like? They can do the same to you. It's it's creating precedents which don't serve you, don't serve anyone really, except the parasite class.
This is where a lack of empathy is a problem, because if you can't empathize of what it might do to someone else in the way of what it would feel like if it was done to you, that's why these people don't sort of get up on their high horse and think this is wrong, because you can only not think this wrong if you don't understand how wrong that is for a democracy. It should not be the law, of course. When it's why I don't like who our leader is. I think that's it's the wrong kind of person that you want in that job, even though I hate him as a person as well, but that's got nothing to do with it, I'd say.
Yeah, well, this kind of circles back to what we were talking at the beginning about education. It's the education which it needs to instill in people the ability for critical thinking, rather than getting sucked into these sort of political kind of tribalist ways of thinking. People need to be able to stand back and see things from the outside, regardless of how they feel about it. They need to think, no, this is wrong. Okay, so I don't like that person, but it's still wrong in the grander scheme of things.
Yeah, and interestingly, I don't know if either of you guys caught it enough. I think it was Douglas Murray saying that, but don't quote me on that. It was that, and he was saying in the UK there's an outcry for talk radio, for ironically exactly what we're doing, which kind of sent a shiver down my spine in a good way. But and he was, I guess it's that reason. It's that sort of people that are waking up out of their stupor are sort of saying, well, I don't really understand what's going on anymore. I need to start listening to people talking about stuff. And I believe, as I say, I believe it was Douglas Murray. He said in the UK that talk radio is gonna hit the roof in the next 18 months. And I thought, God, we enough sort of come in at the right time. Not that we're doing it for that reason, but I think we'll be very lucky that there will be a thirst for people just to re-educate themselves, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, personally, it's like, as far as I'm concerned, we're doing this for ourselves. We're just
Yes.
three mates having a chat, and we decided to put it out. The fact that we decided to put it out publicly is kind of like was secondary, because, like I said, we've been doing this for a couple of years. So, like that, it is what it is. But I think the point is there is plenty of talk radio out there. But the whole point of it is the censorship and the narrative pushing and the propaganda which goes on with a lot of that. Because some of it is extremely biased, and some of it is controlled by the watchdog, which in this country is Ofcom, and so they're really restricted from truly speaking their minds or true free speech. So you don't get a lot of real free speech on the existing talk radio or talk TV or the stuff on the internet, which is the kind of the more mainstream. Even we have GB News and we have Talk Radio here, which are kind of a bit freer, but still they're restricted. There's still some things that they just won't talk about.
Well, but still, it's a very new thing to the United Kingdom. America have been doing these kinds of shows where they just talk about stuff for decades, and I think it is just it's possibly it's just something that the UK are just waking up to now. I mean, you said the name Dan Wootton earlier, and I'd say one of the leaders in that kind of this new kind of free speech forum of talking about stuff.
Yeah, they're kind of podcasters, aren't they? Like Maya Tusi and things like that. I mean, Dan Wootton used to work for GB News, but he got kicked off because he was too he said some things which went against their guidelines, and that is a classic case. And now he's kind of untethered. His shows are actually very good. I find some of the things he says are really his shows are really good. He got kicked off of supposedly the home of free speech, GB News, for speaking freely. You know, he's not the only one. There's been several of those.
Despite the problems we've had setting up this sort of, this modest podcast called Storming a Teacup, anyone can do it with the will. The will to do it.
That's what I said to you guys is that we are just doing it for ourselves, but the idea of putting it out there was to say to other people, like, especially the jokes about me not knowing computers and being dyslexic and doing all the right, again, I don't mind taking the mickey out of myself, but without taking the mickey, you're right, that's the point, is anyone can do this, and we just, three old geezers, if I inspire someone else to get on and do and blow the roof off it, that's brilliant. That's all it's about really anyway. But yeah, that's right. Anyone can do it. I have no computer knowledge, and we fuddle this up and we do our chat each week, and it's not that much hassle, and we don't put any thought into. No offense to any of us, but we don't put any thought into any of this. We literally, what you're hearing is kind of what we're doing. I take off the odd burp, fart, and swear word. That's about it. You get in the raw us, and I like listening to other people like that, and I just feel that people do like listening to a bunch of guys in a pub having a pint talking absolute bullshit or absolute genius stuff. I don't care what people think about me. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. Again, if I spark up a conversation about it, that's all that matters to me either as well. Sorry.
You did say something last week, 4D. You did say something last week which cracked me up when I heard it back. We're talking about the Spanish and having the siesta in midday. We're talking about, and you said, imagine if Scottish people did that. They'd die of hypothermia.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. You're getting raw data from me.
I just thought they wouldn't do that. They'd be straight down the pub.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And good. Well done for that. But the thing about, just very quickly about the siesta thing, they are trying to stop it. The Spanish government are trying to stop it, in the name of efficiency. But it's a proper Spanish thing. They really do. It really does. Just everything stops. And there are long extended lunch times, and I just grew to like this. I thought this is pretty civilized, actually.
Exactly. I think it's very civilized for the area. Absolutely.
It's common sense. It's common sense. That's all it is.
Because it's really hot, and you might as well go and have a nice long leisurely lunch, have a little nap. Nice. That sounds great to me.
Yeah.
And I have experienced it. The only problem with the siesta is around 3:00, because Spanish people tend to go back. I think it's around 5 or 6. So it's all shut down. It's infuriating. Yes, I know. If you want to do shopping in the afternoons, it's infuriating. And if you're in a small town, everything's shut. Big towns, everything's still open, like Malaga or wherever. But anyways, the only thing about this is about 3:00, just be really careful on the roads, because there are people coming back really pissed from the bars, the cafes, the pubs, where they're full of fried fish dinner. a fried fish lunch and a few, maybe a bottle of wine, and they're stumbling back, and they're driving back. So watch out, people. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, we're approaching. It's about 10 o'clock now, so we're approaching the end. Dare I bring this up again right at the end, 4D, about Millet and the Nazi files?
Oh, how dare you? Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, extended podcast alert.
I was going to bring it up. I was going to bring it up earlier, but we were kind of in full flow talking about something else. So I thought, well, we'll have a bit of time. And of course, time just escapes us. So
we'll have to put a pin in that and enter that as sort of one of the early things to talk about next week.
All right, yeah, there may be a bit more information about it as well by then.
I was just going to say maybe a little bit more would have filtered out about it now, but because interestingly, because I went off on one in my head about that actually, and I've looked into some stuff, and and I was talking to someone who might be listening to this once I've recorded it and put it out there. Actually, we were talking about this in depth, and actually, no, I don't want to talk about it because it's 10 o'clock now and it's too late for that. But yes, we'll have to talk about that again.
Yeah, all I will say is I have noticed that the idea that the Führer escaped to Argentina has kind of gone a little bit mainstream now. It's starting to kind of be spoken about now, outside of the usual conspiracy circles, which is interesting, shall we say.
It's a very mental idea, isn't it? It's absolutely bonkers.
Well, if all of those top Nazis escaped, why wouldn't the top guy go as well?
Sure,
that stands to reason, doesn't it?
Sure, of course it does.
Let's knock it on the head there and come back to that.
Yeah, but before we go, I want
to next time.
Oh yeah, paperclip. I want to give a big shout out to British Supplements. I'm about to order the clean vitamins that they sell from their base in Northern Ireland. I'm going to order. I've run out of vitamin C, which is pure vitamin C. It won't give you the shits, pardon that, but it won't. It's made from cherry extract, vitamin D3, which comes fortified with vitamin K, and zinc. That's all you need. Those are the three major ones. Get them from British Supplements, people. They are not paying us.
Yeah. So come on, Viv. You got a dad joke to end us off this evening?
Oh God, I know. I had a really good.
While you're thinking of one, I've got a Norman Wisdom joke.
Go on.
3 things happen when you get old. First thing is your memory starts to go, and the other 2 I can't remember.
Brilliant. Oh no, that's all right. That's very good.
It's annoying we've got to the dad joke bit because there was one more subject I wanted to talk about, and it was I was looking into bees, and they've been manipulating bees, and you can now get milk from some bees. Do you know what they've called the ones that you can get milk from?
Don't know. Go on.
Boobies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a good boobies joke.
I don't know. Oh well, I think that's probably it. I mean, I'm still trying to write my book about glue, but I'm stuck on the first chapter.
Yeah. Okay. Let's call it a wrap there, fellas. I think that's just about killed it.
Yeah. All right. Have a good week, people.
Yeah. All right, fellas.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Yeah, indeed. All the best. Blessings. Bye-bye.